International Court, as you know, is expected of justice to deliver its order on the request for the indication of provisional measures submitted by South Africa against Israel. So South Africa took Israel to the World Court for allegedly committing genocide in Gaza. Israel rejected such assertions. The hearing is expected to take place at 2 p.m. South African time. Khayelihle Khumalo joins us now in studio just to talk a little bit more about what we can expect, and of course Team South Africa that are out there representing us and waiting for this judgment to be held on. Kaya, good to have you in studio. Perhaps we can recap a little bit about, what's actually gone down. So we've had both arguments, and if you don't mind recapping them for us so we know where we stand.
Well, that's right, Leanne. I mean, both parties have been very optimistic that they've really presented quite very comprehensive argument. You have South Africa, for example, saying that there's a genocidal intent in light of what is currently happening in Gaza, where they cited the death toll that has just been going up. But also when you look at the humanitarian crisis as well, the situation where at some point we saw the electricity being cut off from Gaza, but also citing the issue of the humanitarian aid that was not distributed on time. But also, I mean, what has been the argument from Israel is that Hamas really has really just positioned itself in some of the residential areas, but also really just going as far as saying that South Africa is enjoying very close relations with Hamas. Obviously, South Africa has rejected such argument, really saying that it's quite important from its side as the signatories of the Genocide Convention of 1948 to make sure that these two countries do respect their obligations, but also really talking about the irreparable harm as well that is happening in Gaza, where we've seen some of the healthcare facilities being targeted, Leanne, where also at some point also what has been the argument of Israel is that Hamas is really immersing itself in some of the very critical areas, the civilian infrastructure, whether you're talking about the mosques, the healthcare facilities, and many other areas as well.
Yeah, and of course, as all of this is being discussed, the war is escalating. It is raging on. The humanitarian crisis is something that, when you listen to humanitarian workers that are there on the ground, it's things that they've never experienced or seen before. And these are words coming from people that are there, that are saying people are starving, people are sick, there is no aid coming through, there is no help, and there are brazen attacks on innocent people. And that at the heart of all of this, it doesn't matter, besides everything else, that at the heart of everything is what we are looking at and trying to eliminate. Now, the reality is that what Israel have said, and particularly the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in his reaction to South Africa launching its case, said South Africa's hypocrisy screams to the high heavens. So there's been a lot of criticism towards South Africa as well.
Well, that's right. I mean, for example, you have those who are saying, where was South Africa, when we saw these atrocities being committed in Yemen? Where was South Africa's voice with so many conflicts? But I mean, for example, you've had from so many powerful individuals in Israel who are saying this is preposterous, this is highly atrocious, because when you look at the origins of the Genocide Convention, it was what happened post the World War II, and also what we saw in Europe with, the Holocaust. So a lot of them really saying that, I mean, this is not really right for South Africa to jump into the bandwagon. But what has been interesting also, Leanne, is so many countries really supporting South Africa, the likes of Namibia, Bolivia, countries like Belgium as well, really taking quite a very powerful stance where they say, this is a very powerful moment where it's about really this situation that has been going on for 70 odd years. And this is going to be a litmus test for the International Court of Justice when it comes to the preliminary order that they need to issue today, really just speaking to the plight of the Palestinians who have been seeking self-determination for quite a number of years, but also saying the root cause of this particular issue is this occupation that has been happening for some time. And in fact, that has been the voice that has been coming from a number of countries in the Middle East, the likes of Jordan and many others as well.
Yeah, and of course, the support for Israel is also massive by the biggest Western leaders, and we just have to bring the US into the conversation, who have all along said they support Israel in what they are doing in their plight to get rid of Hamas, a terrorist organization, and they keep on that side. So they really do support them, and they have got very powerful nations on their side. Let's wrap this up and perhaps look from the South African perspective. Perhaps a sign of our confidence, perhaps I'm reading too much into it, is the fact that our Foreign Minister, Naledi Pandor, is there, along with obviously our ambassador. Who else will be representing us there, and a heavy-weighted team that are there in The Hague?
Well, obviously, I mean, when you look at the legal minds that represented South Africa, quite a lot of them will be there at The Hague, waiting with anticipation, you know, just in terms of this particular ruling. Like you just said, I mean, Israel received quite a very overwhelming support from the chief backer, the United States of America. We've seen the warships getting into the Mediterranean Sea, really just showing a very clear sign in terms of their support, but also, Leanne, very far-reaching implications for the region. I mean, we've seen the Red Sea, the disruption where the Houthis from Yemen have been attacking quite a number of ships, where they say as long as the people in Gaza are being bombarded, these constant attacks will remain along the Red Sea.
All right, Khaya, we leave it there.